Hello and welcome to this episode of Community Connections, airing right here on OROMIA11. Today we are talking to a potential mayoral candidate for the city of Minneapolis. Omar Fateh will be joining us. He'll be talking about his vision for his campaign, his vision for the city of Minneapolis, and some ways to improve community relations with the police and ICE. I think this is going to be an important episode you won't want to miss. Welcome to the program. I'm so excited to have you on this episode of Community Connections, Omar.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Now, you are here joining us because you are running for mayor of Minneapolis. And as we both know, early voting has started, but we wanted to take the time here at OROMIA11 to give you an opportunity to talk to our viewers and to the community about what you are platforming with your campaign.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. And yes, the election is less than a week away. And so we're running on a working class message. We're running to make our city more affordable, raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour and providing rental protections like rent stabilization, tied into also housing affordability, how we're addressing homelessness and our encampments in a humane and compassionate way. Number two, public safety, making sure we have a public safety system that works for everyone. And we know that it's been 5 years since the murder of George Floyd. And since then, there has been no real plan by the mayor in how we're going to reform our public safety system. And number three, lastly, we have Trump in office and a hostile federal government. And on top of that, Trump has both the House and the Senate and a Supreme Court that'll do whatever he wants. So we got to work together to think about cross-jurisdictionally at the city, county, state, what are we going to do to protect our most vulnerable communities, such as our immigrants.
Now, for people that may be unaware, you are currently the state senator of District 62 here in the state of Minnesota. So you have an intricate view on what's taking place inside the government, but also hearing the voice of your constituents. Can you talk to me about how that's shaping your mayoral campaign?
Yeah, and so I've been serving as the state senator for 5 years for South Minneapolis. 2 years in the majority and 3 years in the minority. A little bit about myself is I'm the chair of the Higher Education Committee, and I serve as the vice chair of the Human Services Committee. With the Higher Ed Committee, I last biennium helped manage a budget of $1.1 billion for all of our college and universities, which is kind of similar to the city of Minneapolis's $1.7, $1.8 billion budget. So it's almost close. And so as a senator, a couple of things. I've always made a commitment to our residents that in the decision-making process when we're formulating policy, I'll always partner with community and folks that are impacted by our decisions and our policies, rather than making it without them and then explaining it away after. A lot of times I've learned that when you bring folks into that decision-making process, not only are we better able to formulate policy, but we know that we don't know everything, right? When folks are educating us on the issues, they know best that are impacting them. I think that's a proper approach to take. I want to touch on two things. Number one, the current mayor right now doesn't have a good relationship with city council, but also that extends to our county and state. He doesn't have a good relationship with our county and our state. And right now, when we have a federal government threatening to cut funding for cities such as Minneapolis, we need to get more funding from the county and our state partners to make up for the gaps so that we can provide for the basic services for our city. And we cannot do that if the mayor is consistently isolated and by himself. And so we need a mayor that'll have a relationship reset and work cross-jurisdictionally to get that done. I have that experience as a state senator, passing things like tuition-free college for working families, making sure that we have strong rideshare protections and increased wages for our Uber and Lyft drivers, and passing a whole host of human services legislation for our seniors and our folks with disabilities. So I believe I have the experience to make it happen.
What have you been hearing from your constituents in South Minneapolis about some of their concerns with this current election taking place?
So a couple of the key priorities is number one, encampments and homelessness. The mayor campaigned in 2017 that he would end homelessness within 5 years. However, right now there are more unhoused people than when he first took office. He promised to stand with our workers and our Uber and Lyft drivers, but when the corporations called, he vetoed the ordinance supporting our rideshare drivers, our Uber and Lyft drivers, and he vetoed the Labor Standards Board, which will provide a voice for our workers. He promised he would stand for our immigrant communities. However, we saw MPD on the scene on when ICE and federal agents were on Lake in Bloomington, and we had an email that was leaked with ICE thanking MPD for their assistance in escorting them. And we're saying that under any circumstance, that MPD should not be helping any federal agents. And so, consistently, the mayor has been walking back on his promises, and we want a city in which we are taking a more humane approach and compassionate approach to homelessness, ensuring that we're housing people, providing treatment, and building more affordable housing rather than just bulldozing our encampments block by block. We want to make sure that we clear encampments by actually housing people. Number two, a major concern people are having is that when they call 911, either the call gets dropped or the call takes a while to go through, or when it goes through, that either officers take a while to arrive or don't arrive at all. And so we want to make sure that when folks call 911, they get the right call at the right time. When I talk about reforming public safety, we know that we don't need an armed officer for every single phone call. A city report showed that nearly half of 911 calls to MPD can be diverted away from officers. And that is exactly what I heard from officers at the Capitol, them saying that we cannot respond to every single phone call. There are some mental health issue calls that we need alternatives to respond to. And if we're able to take half their caseload off their plate, then they're able to focus on violent crime, gun violence, trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and clearing the investigation backlog. And I think that's what people want to see in their public safety system.
I think those are all very important focal points. What is something that you would like the people of Minneapolis to know about you?
Yeah, thank you. We've been building a very broad coalition from day one, from renters to immigrants to young people to seniors to longtime DFLers that have been fed up with the process for a long time. And so right now, we built a broad coalition of endorsements from the progressives at the state level to even Blue Dog Democrats, the Blue Dog conservative Democrats, to show that despite some of our differences behind closed doors, we work well together and we're able to pass policy that helps people. Honored to be endorsed by a whole host of unions like our workers at SEIU, our hospitality workers at Unite Here, our teachers at MFE, endorsed by Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. And so we built a real winning coalition of folks that care about renters' rights and transit, housing affordability, making our city more affordability, protecting our most vulnerable communities here in Minneapolis. And so the last two terms, the mayor has had 8 years to get the job done. Unfortunately, we've just been left with a trail of broken vetoes and broken promises. And right now, more than ever, we need a mayor that works as hard as all of you. As a senator, I've seen time and time again our neighbors show up, fighting for the city that they love, showing up to the city hall, showing up to the Capitol, showing up to neighborhood meetings, despite all the challenges and struggles that they're facing, because they want to fight for the city that they envision that we can be. But we need to have a mayor that's willing to partner and work as hard as you do.
There are so many people that are currently fearful of ICE being in our communities and affecting our children and things like that. What is something that you would speak to them to encourage them to not only go and cast their vote, if not early, but on November 4th, but also for them to kind of navigate their day to day? What does that look like for you?
That's a very good question, and a few things. So number one, on Lake and Bloomington on June 3rd, what we learned is that there was a strategic failure on the part of the city, on behalf of the mayor. In fact, myself and other elected officials, when we showed up to the scene, it wasn't because we heard about it from the mayor or MPD, it's because we heard about it from some of the boots on the ground immigrant organizations that were finding out what was happening. And so we learned that number one, we got to strengthen our separation ordinance at the city. We got to make sure that number one, MPD does not collaborate with ICE. Number two, that anytime federal agents are entering Minneapolis, that our city council has to be aware and updated, and communities have to be aware and updated and not left in the dark. And we saw that day that there was a lot of chaos and anxiety and fear, and rightfully so, because people weren't sure what the situation that was happening. And so that's the approach we want to take. And we know that as a city, we cannot go at it alone. As the chair of the Senate Higher Education Committee, I've seen firsthand and heard students are under undocumented immigrant students being picked up sometimes on campus, middle of the night, with their families not knowing where they are, their lawyers not knowing where they are. And we had college presidents afraid to speak out or do things about it because they're worried about losing federal funding from the federal government. And so we want to make sure that we're not afraid of the threats coming from the federal government, that we're protecting all of our communities. And to ensure, again, that's why the cross-jurisdictional approach is important, because we need to make up for that gap in funding in strategic ways, partnering with the county and state. Lastly, we know that, again, we cannot do it alone. So it's going to take us partnering with the boots on the ground organizations that are doing a lot of the immigrant rights work, folks that are doing know your rights training, legal counseling, providing help, ongoing help, training things like you don't have to open the door if folks are banging on your door, things like that. That's the approach we envision that we want to take as a city to protect all of our neighbors.
Lastly, let people know how they stay connected to the work of your campaign.
Yes, thank you so much. So they can learn more about the campaign at fatehformayor.com. They can join at fatehformayor.com/join and keep up on social media, on Twitter handle at Omar Fateh MN, learning about what we're up to, what we're doing, all of our door knocking opportunities, our phone banking opportunities, events such as forums and debates and things like that. You can go on and donate. We need, it's an all hands on deck approach. We've been knocking tens of thousands of doors, phone banking tens of thousands of neighbors, reaching out to anyone and everyone. And so far we've been hearing a lot of great things, and it seems like the city is ready to turn the corner and for a new direction. And so please reach out to us, fatehformayor.com, if you want to participate and join the movement.
Thank you so much, Omar Fateh, for your time today and joining us on Community Connections, just sharing with people what is the vision for your campaign and what the focal point is going forward.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for this episode of Community Connections, airing right here on OROMIA11. As always, I am your host, Anna Orr. Please note, we here at OROMIA11 do not endorse any candidate or lend them our support in any way. We are just making sure that we share with our viewers the proper information necessary for them to make their best decision at the ballot box. Be sure to cast your vote if you have not already. Early voting has started right here in Minnesota and will take place. The official election will be November 4th. You can access ballot boxes from 7 a.m. that day until well after 8 p.m. You will be able to cast your vote. And if you are in line, they will be accepting ballots till 10 p.m. You also are able to leave your job at any point to cast your vote without penalty. Make sure that you look up your local polling locator to make sure you are voting at the right place when the time comes to cast your ballot. And as always, I look forward to connecting again with you soon.
Magaalaa bareedduu Minneapolis keessa jiraattanii yookiin gara magaalaa bareedduu tanaa dhufuudhaaf karoora qabdanii as dhuftanii dhimmoota akka rooba cabbii hamaa, haala qilleensa hamaa, rakkoo nageenya hawaasaa, bu'uraalee misooma gurguddaa fi dhiibbaa qophiilee adda addaa magaalaa Minneapolis ilaalchisee odeeffannoowwan argachuudhaaf rakkattanii jirtanii. Eeyyeen yoo rakkattanii jirtaniif furmaata harkaa isinii qabna. Aappii Smart 911 fayyadamuudhaan odeeffannoo kanneen argachuu ni dandeettan. Karaa aappii kanaatiin ergaa SMS, iimeelii, bilbila yookiin akeekkachiisa balaa tasaa bilbila kanarratti ergamu argachuu dandeettu. Akeekkachiifni ifaa fi bilisaa kun immoo bilbila naannoo keessanii irratti isiniif ergama. Maarree rakkoo kana jalaa bahuudhaaf homaa osoo hin turin hardhuma gama minneapolismn.gov/alert deemuudhaan galmaaha.